how does intermittent fasting help eating disorders and possibly affect eating disorders in a negative way? I have had 4 eating disorders over my lifetime so far, and all of those were mostly from a very, very early childhood traumas that I had related to food. And some of those also related to the religion that I was a part of that was very, very strict about women and being thin for your husband, all kinds of morals that were laid on top that screwed up a lot of my self-image, my body dysmorphia, and just lots and lots of stuff. So I'm not going to go into all that. I talk about it more in my book. But eating disorders, when I started doing intermittent fasting, the one of the eating disorders I have, which was binge eating, definitely was affected by the intermittent fasting, because what happens is when you're intermittent fasting, you're not eating anything and you're used to eating a lot or used to snacking, then your body is saying, oh, I need some more carbs. I'm a sugar burning machine. I need some more sugar. So you're craving those carbs. So when you don't go for a long time, you end up binging. Or for me, this is what happened. I would end up binging. And there's a Facebook group I'm a part of, and I see this a lot where people will say that same type of thing is like, I can't stop eating. Once I've stopped my fasting, and some of these people are doing extended fasting, 2 days, 5 days, and then they'll talk about how they can't stop eating, and then they gain all the weight back, and they feel terrible about themselves. So because I already knew I had these eating disorders, which I had learned about from Kati Morton, a lot. She has a lot of YouTube videos online. I knew I had a few of the eating disorders, but I learned more that I actually had more of them, and to varying degrees. And so the binge eating definitely was an issue for me when I started intermittent fasting, and to realize that triggers it, or it makes me want to binge eat and undo any of the benefits from the times that I was not eating. Basically, if you have some of these eating disorders related to binge eating especially, then intermittent fasting might be more of a challenge for you. So just be aware of that. And I had to become aware of that too, and realize the extended fasts just didn't work well for me, because it made me want to binge even more when I did start to eat. So it's understanding, if you do have eating disorders, understand that sometimes the intermittent fasting might be more of a challenge. Don't give up on it. I didn't give up on the intermittent fasting in terms of saying, oh, well, it's just going to keep triggering my binge eating. No, I had to monitor it. It was sort of understanding when I lowered my carbs, I wasn't actually tempted to eat as many carbs, which helped me not binge. So it was sort of interrelated with the lower carbs, and the intermittent fasting helped me not actually want to binge later on. So that also mitigated it. But if you don't lower your carbs, I don't know. This is me personally. I don't know how intermittent fasting can really work to lose weight if you don't also lower your carbs and lower your sugars, because you'll basically just eat as much as you can when you are allowed to eat, and you're eating all the same foods. So it's just like taking your 3 meals, pushing them all into 2 meals. You're not going to lose the weight. So it's lessening the amount of total food that you're taking in, and also just giving your body rest, which can help with inflammation, and lowering your carbs, which means you don't crave as many carbs, which means you most likely will not actually binge as much either. So binge eating isn't an issue for me right now. The ARFID is one of the eating disorders I also have, which is avoidant restrictive food disorder. So I had food traumas growing up where I was punished if I didn't eat food. And so there are some food that I just can't eat. They make me gag. So that issue is not really related to the intermittent fasting and eating low carb, but that is something I'm still having to deal with. Binge eating is pretty much not an issue anymore, which is, so in some ways, the intermittent fasting and the low carb helped, cure me or help me in recovery from the binge eating issue. So just be aware of intermittent fasting if you have some eating disorders, and try and find, the right combination of the lower carb and the intermittent fasting, and I would recommend looking into Kati Morton's videos online. She has lots and lots that talk about the body dysmorphia and the eating disorders, and she has some really good recommendations. I don't agree with everything she says, but she does have some good things there. So thank you for watching this, and please subscribe and like the video if you did like it, and share it with somebody if you feel this would help them. And I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.